Hello guys and welcome back to the channel, and today we'll do a quick recap of the first race in F1 esports in 2025. Top 18 drivers, not 20, we've only got 9 teams on the grid, battled it out at the Shanghai International Circuit, and we'll first look at a few things that were quite interesting in qualifying, starting with an onboard of Nico Longe in Q1, and as you can see we're on the back straight, and he's almost all the way onto the grass. He's basically running along this drain cover on the right. I've not seen that before. I don't think anyone has really done that in the game or in basically our version of the game. It's important to know that the esports drivers have a slightly different build of the game. I'm guessing it's just to avoid bumps to maximize top speed. I'm not entirely sure how it is better. Maybe the drain cover is smoother than the actual circuit, something like that. And then a few teams did this in Q1, but then in Q2 and Q3, we didn't really see it anymore, and not everyone did it. So maybe it's car specific or setup specific. Or maybe it's just something Williams found that others didn't. And then for braking, we head back to the left. So that is very interesting. You can see now here, we've got two cars. I think that's might be a Mercedes and a Red Bull there that do it as well. But then as we're going to see later on Freddie Rasmussen's pole lap, he does not do that and he kind of stays in the middle of the circuit. So I don't know why people did that. Maybe in Q1 it's faster, but they must have found something which was quite interesting and we didn't see before. And on that note, we're going to move on. Going to skip through Q1 and Q2. Of course, Q1 had 3 knockouts and then Q2 had 5. So we're into the top 10 shootout. And we're going to be on board with Freddie Rasmussen. Now, this is on his final outlap before Q3. And as you're about to see, he lets go of his steering wheel to warm up the tires. He's got overtake mode engaged, and the wheel, due to the force feedback, wiggles around, and you can see the surface temperature goes from 50 up to almost 80 degrees. And ULAS did this as well, maybe others as well. I didn't see everyone doing it, but I don't know how they do it, but I guess, I mean, you just let go of your wheel, but I guess it's a way to get the tire temperatures up without properly weaving and getting a lot of load and tire wear into the tires. So another neat trick for you to maybe attempt in your league race, but just don't do it the first time in your league race. Try and practice it, because if you let go of your wheel and end up in the wall, there's really no one to blame except for yourself. And yeah, that's another thing that we found quite interesting through quali. I'm expecting that will be throughout. I don't think that is track specific like the long game moment. And moving on from that, then we're gonna head straight to Freddie Rasmussen's pole lap and analyze this. So he uses up to 70% battery heading into turn 1. We can even see the brake bias and the battery and the differential, of course, as well. He's currently in second place behind Otis Lawrence, so he needs to find an improvement if he wants to get up to pole position. So it's about 25 to 30% overtake heading into turn 1, turning in flat out in 8th gear. You can see he's still in 8th gear. Then he starts lifting off, barely brakes, mainly lifting, tiny dab on the brakes. Third gear, he holds third gear. I'm guessing others might go second through there as he heads through the left-hander, and it's keeping a very, very tight line. In real life, they'd go all the way out here, but in the game, it's much faster to take the shorter run as you have enough grip available as you head into sector 2. Let me just see if I can increase the graphics. Doesn't make much of a difference. But yeah, you can see he's 600ths up already heading into the middle sector. So that is a very, very strong first sector. For those new to esports, 600th is a huge advantage. And you can see he's on 54 brake bias now. So between turns 1, or braking zone for turn 1 and braking zone for turn 4, he went up to 54% brake bias. Now he's using a lot of battery on overtake mode all the way until 58, until he basically starts turning in. He goes down to medium for this corner, keeping it nice and tight to open up this right-hander. Now he's down to none on the battery, flat out on the entry, really not braking much, a lot of lifting, but not much braking. Bit of an aggressive turn in there to get the initial grip, and as soon as possible on the apex of the second left-hander, back to overtake mode to 55% there. As he then heads into the last sector, and he's 1.3, almost 1.4 tenths up, and he's only 100th behind Otis at the moment. So this was looking like a very, very strong lap, which he then confirmed in his interview, of course, as well. That run is quite a difficult traction zone, and as we're about to see now, he just keeps it in the middle of the road. He doesn't go all the way to the right, and the same goes for the V-carb of ULAS behind him. Draining all the battery, now he's 53% brake bias for this last one, down to none on the battery. Brake at the 100-meter board, hold the brakes very, very long. Down to second, then start trail braking, bit of a drift to get the rotation, And you can see how early he's back up full throttle in second gear already. Get back on the overtake mode. 54% brake bias for the last corner. Send it through. Make sure you don't invalidate. And that was going to be enough for pole position, I believe, by 38 thousandths ahead of Ulas, I think. And yeah, that was a pretty good qualifying. Longe qualified in third. Otis goes up to fourth, but I think started in fifth or sixth in the end. Isma improves, but is in P6. And yeah, overall, quite a good qualifying session. But I think the oldest driver or the most experienced driver, one of the two probably, is in pole position for round one. Alfie is in fourth place. And I mean, besides that, tires and the thing on the straight, a pretty standard qualifying. The gaps are really, really close in esports since everyone is equal car performance. But without further ado, let's head into the race. Taking a look at the race start first. So it's important to know the top two started on the mediums. Top three, sorry. No, top two, Freddy and Ulas started on the mediums. Longe started on the hard tire. And then Alfie, Yarno, and Joris are again on the medium. Otis on the hards. I think Ismail was on the mediums again. And then the rest of the field on the hards. And as we're about to see, Longe starts in P3, instantly gets overtaken by Alfie into turn one. And then we've got Yarno on the inside who sneaks through, tries to get past both of them, nearly gets that. Balonge loses out 2 places there, which is not good. And now he's got Joris overtaking him as well. The top two remain unchanged, but you can see Longe down to 6th place already. And now we had Otis go up the inside of Longe, and the inside line is just better. And Otis is Otis is ahead of Longe now, which is a really poor start. 1 sector done and 4 places dropped for Longe, as I don't know what the quality with this stream is doing, but a very, very poor start. And the hards are difficult to start on, but you then really have to make it work on the overcuts. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works. You can see Longe down to 7th place, and then Isma, I'm pretty sure, made a move pretty quickly. Here we go. He already got past into the hairpin. Longe down to 8th place, so he lost 5 places in the first lap. And basically every medium tire runner is ahead of him now. He even got overtaken by Otis, so that was not ideal for him. As we're now going to move on to the end of lap number 7. So the top 7, well, 6 of the top 7 are on mediums, and Otis is still on the hard compound tire. And here is where the hard tire is definitely better than the mediums. And Alfie Butcher in 3rd place actually decides to pit on the end of lap number 7, which is really, really early, going for the undercut. So he's on the hard tires now, but he's completely alone. No one to pull him with, and he'll get a lot more tire wear. You can see we go on board with Ulas and Freddy, but they both keep going. No one pits. Yarno doesn't pit. Joris doesn't pit. Everyone keeps going except for Alfie. So at this point, Alfie has a guaranteed undercut. He will be in the net lead of the race once everyone makes a pit stop, but then he has more tire wear, so he's going to have to try and hang on to that somehow. So stay tuned for that, as we're going to go through end of lap number 9 then, I believe. Still no one pits, by the way. So he's got now a 2-lap undercut. And then on the end of lap number 10, eventually, I think Freddy and Ulas decide to pit. Exactly, Freddy and Ulas decide to pit. Yarno keeps going, Joris keeps going, Isma keeps going. And then Tom Manley as well, who's behind longer, actually. I forgot about him being on the mediums. But yeah, as we maybe just were able to see there, Alfie is going to be ahead of both of them. There's the overtake. Can't see the gap just yet. But now Otis is in a prime position. He's got a 1 second gap to Longe, and he knows he's got better tires than Joris and Yorno. And Ismail behind also has worse tires. So Otis is in a very good position. He's got a lot of battery here. So he's going to try and push for an overtake here as well. And as we're about to see, heading down into the hairpin, he is going to try and go for the overtake here. And he's going to go to the inside of Joris. And he knows if he can get these moves done and Longe gets held up, he will be the lead hard tire runner. So he'll be the first guy on fresh mediums to try and attack the hard tire runner, since he's on the alternative strategy. So Upmir and Joris go into the pit lane. Very smart move there by Joris to go in as well, because without that, he would have probably dropped further back. You've got Ismail Fassi and Tom Manley still going. And now you can see there's a 9/10 gap between Otis and Ismail, and Longa is another 3/10 back. And you can see the gap is 1.4 seconds to Otis. So he will be dropping out of the DRS range because Fassi has way less grip in this middle sector. And now, as Fassi pits at the end, Fassi keeps going, I think, one more lap. And then Duncan is stuck behind him. But basically, the longer Fassi stays out, the more it hurts the hard trains and the more it helps Otis. And as you can see, we're lap 13 already. Alfie pit on lap number 7. Freddy and Ulas on lap number 10. Jarno and Joris on 11. And they've already overtaken Alfie. So he undercuts, but he already got overtaken, and he still got 15 laps to go. So I thought while watching the race that he would definitely drop behind, well, everyone, because he'd just have more tire wear. But as we're about to see, the race goes on. Ismail decides to pit. And then eventually there's people that begin pitting. So you had Julian Klaffenberg, John Evans, and Thomas Gull. The first guys pitting from the hard tires onto the mediums on the alternate strategy. And also now, Otis has been able to open up the gap a bit, 2 second gap to Longa now. But the question is basically, the medium tires will definitely be able to close up to the back of the hard tire train, but will they still have good enough tires to be able to overtake? Because you need a tire advantage, which you get, of course, by just pitting later to close up. But you kind of need to save the tires a bit to still have enough of an advantage to get past, because while they do have a different game build, they have a bit less dirty air and maybe a bit more slipstream. I don't think much more slipstream, just a tiny bit more dirty air. So you still need a significant um tire advantage to really be able to overtake. And a top 3 pit. We got Runner and Berezne still going. Venom into the pit lane as well. And as we're about to see, we've got still the top 5, Freddy, Ulas, Alfie, Yorno, and Joris. That is unchanged. And then Isma and Tom, of course, undercutting Otis. But Otis is only 2 seconds behind Tom Manley. And yeah, as the commentator just says there, Otis is only 10 seconds behind Freddy. Now the commentator makes it seem like it's a lot, but 10 lap old or 7, 8 lap old hards compared to fresh mediums, I accidentally pressed the wrong button, is an insane tire advantage. So I mean, no one would choose that strategy if they knew there's no guaranteed chance they would close up. And that's exactly what they did. So Otis is now a 10th behind Tom Manley. Um, and also Jarno had very, very good tires. I think 4 lap fresher tires than Alfie. So he really was trying to get past, because a double podium for Oracle Red Bull Sim Racing would of course be absolutely perfect. Perfect start into the season, especially because the Constructors' Championship has more prize money, so that's where the most of the focus is. And then Otis sneaks through past Tom Manley. Now he's going to get an easy overtake on Istvan Pukki, who tries to hold up people, but Istvan, of course, hasn't pit yet, so it wasn't really a big fight there. And Otis is up to 7th place. Now we'll have Isma ahead, which you can see he flies past, heading into turn 1 with the aid of DRS. No battery, but he has the better tires, and he's got 8 laps to go, and he's only 2.5 seconds behind the top 5, and he's got 3 lap old mediums, and Alfie has 12 lap old hards. So I was like, there's no way the hard tires are gonna hold on. If Otis gets through cleanly, makes those moves, he should be able to get past. But you can see Otis is gaining very, very quickly. Otis has been very nice battery management and has been on the back of Yarno for basically the whole race. But it's just very, very difficult to overtake. Here again, tries to go for an overtake, but Yarno has the battery to compensate. So there's not much that can be done here. Yeah, Yaris actually goes for a move here. As you can see, he has a bit of a look to the inside of Yarno into turn 2, but there's just no way to get past. As you can see, he's about to take a big sigh of relief on this exit, as you can see there. But yeah, really not much you can do. Otis flying to the back of him. Gap is 1.1 seconds. And then on the next lap, I think this is where there was a bit of contact. Otis gets very, very close, and I thought he's just gonna have to go for the inside. Surely it's a free overtake, and he tries, but then goes out, and then while turning, he locks up and hits the back of Joris. Now, I don't, he didn't lose an end plate, but I think he must or might have gotten just a tiny bit of wing damage, as the connection is absolutely horrendous. I'm sorry for that. Um, but yeah, I think Otis compromised his race there, and then that kind of cost Otis a bit of time and a bit of battery and stuff like that as well. As he then tries to have a look here, try to find any space. He still has better tires. He has more grip as well. Tries to find a gap past Joris, but there's just no way through really. Gonna try and go up to 1080p for a bit better graphics, which we get. And here we go. He's so close to the back of Joris. Joris goes very defensive. Should have tried to go around the outside, but Joris holds that very, very nicely. Can't do much though. Lawrence simply has more battery, and he's gonna get the overtake done around the outside at the hairpin. And now he's up into 5th place, and he's still got 5 laps to go. And I thought really that Alfie would start to drop with so much more tire wear, so much older tires, and that Jarno should have definitely gotten past yet. But he's just not able to do anything. And then Otis went straight onto the attack. Now I don't know if this is due to the broadcast or if this was actually an issue, but there was so much lag, at least on the broadcast, as we're about to see. If we go on board with Otis, as you can see here, there's a bit of contact. I don't know if it's lag or if that contact actually happened, as I nearly collide. That would have been quite interesting. Kind of compromising Jarno's exit there, but I think Jarno had better battery because he, of course, didn't have to drain it to defend from yours. Um, So yeah, you're now able to hold on to 4th place for now. He tries to have a look, but there's just no space. And then I'm pretty sure the same thing happened on the next lap if we just skip through. Once again, Otis goes for a good exit, but then again, there's just a bit of lag and contact there, and they both nearly collide. I don't know if that really happened. I mean, you can see the steering input a bit, but now he does lose out to Joris. That is a very, very effective overtake there for Joris, barely having to do any work as Joris now goes defensive. Otis tries to go around the outside, but he goes a bit too deep into the hairpin, and Isma gets past him up into 6th place for Isma. And Otis kind of loses his head there. I think it started with Joris, where he spent a bit too much behind him. Same for Jarno. And then we got the final 3 laps. It's kind of died down between P3 to P6. Question is now, can Ulas try and overtake Freddie Rasmussen? This is a penultimate lap. Now, do you want to stay behind for the final lap, or do you want to be ahead? Ulas uses all of the battery, and here they go. He goes to the outside and uses a lot of battery. He gets a beautiful switchback on Freddie Rasmussen, but I don't know. He lets him go. I guess he wanted to try and stay behind. Maybe just prove that he is still there and that he still has a chance. And then here again, he drains so much of the battery heading onto the last lap. Rasmussen goes defensive, and Rasmussen is able to hang on to the lead for now. So can he hold it is the question. I honestly don't know how Alfie has still been able to hold Heath. We are now still in 4th, and here we go then. Last straight of the race. Frederick has the gap. I think Red Bull again, just like last year, ran pretty low downforce. Ulas has a lot of battery remaining, but there's just no way to get past. And this is going to be the first win, pole to victory for Freddie Rasmussen. It's going to be Ulas who finishes in 2nd place. Alfie somehow manages to hang on. Fair play to him. Jarno, a solid 4th, of course, reigning reigning champion. Joris, a very good race. Isma, decent points. I think Otis could have been a bit higher. Tom, unfortunately, got a 3-second penalty, so he won't be in the points. I think Longa is probably one of the biggest losers in that race, dropping from P3 to P8 with that alternate strategy, just not really making it work. Him, Duncan, and Thomas and Danny, they just weren't able to get past Tom Manley, who just put up a beautiful wall, really. And that was it for round 1. Pole to victory. Interesting tactics in qualifying. The alternate strategy, which worked pretty interestingly last year, didn't work just well, or just as well, in round 1. But we've got Japan today, as I'm recording this, on the Saturday morning, and we've got Bahrain tomorrow, which are going to be another 2 very, very interesting tracks. So with that, I thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like and subscribe to help me reach 5,000 subscribers. Until next time, from me, take care and goodbye.